Money. It's not just paper. It's not just numbers on a screen. It's one of the most powerful emotional triggers on the planet. It can make you feel secure or completely worthless. And here's the wild part. It's not really about the money. It's about what money means to your brain. Today, we're diving deep into why money is the most stressful thing in your life and why your mind is hardwired to panic about it. Let's talk about the psychology of money and the hidden mental traps it creates. Point 1. The invisible anxiety trigger. Money stress isn't about logic. It's about survival. When you think about money, your brain doesn't see a paycheck, it sees threats. Psychologists call it the scarcity mindset. When your brain senses a lack of money, it activates your amygdala, the same fear center that lights up when you're in danger. That's why financial problems don't just feel bad, they hurt. Because deep down, your brain thinks survival is on the line. Point 2. The control illusion. Money gives us the illusion of control. When we have it, we feel powerful. When we lose it, we feel powerless. But here's the twist. The human brain hates uncertainty more than it hates loss. Studies show that not knowing where your finances stand can create more stress than actually losing money. That's why checking your bank account feels like opening a box of anxiety. You crave control, but money constantly reminds you that control is fragile. Point 3. Status and self-worth. Money is no longer just about survival. It's about status. Your brain links your self-worth to your net worth. In psychology, it's called symbolic value. You don't just buy things, you buy identity. A car becomes a statement. A house becomes proof. And when you can't afford what others have, it doesn't just feel unfair. It feels personal. Because somewhere deep down, you equate broke with less than. Point 4. Social comparison trap. Welcome to the age of invisible competition. Social media turned everyone's life into a financial highlight reel. You scroll, you compare, you spiral. Psychologists call it relative deprivation, the idea that you feel poor not because of what you lack, but because of what others have. Even if you're doing fine, seeing someone else win financially can trigger envy, inadequacy, and even shame. Your brain doesn't process numbers, it processes status gaps. Point 5. The reward system hack. Money activates the same dopamine circuits as drugs. The anticipation of a paycheck, a sale, or a bonus hits the same reward pathways as a hit of caffeine or nicotine. That's why financial wins feel addictive. But here's the dark side. Once your brain adapts, the baseline moves. The more you earn, the more you need to feel the same high. So you chase, you hustle, you grind. Not because you want more, but because you can't feel enough. Point 6. Financial trauma and memory. If you grew up around financial instability, your nervous system remembers it. Psychologists call this financial trauma. Even when your bank account is fine, your body might still react to money like you're about to lose everything. That's why some people overwork, hoard money, or panic about bills that don't even exist yet. It's not irrational. It's your nervous system trying to protect you from the past. Point 7. The fear of judgment. Money exposes you. Every decision, what you buy, where you live, how you spend, becomes a reflection of your choices. And humans are wired to fear judgment. We want acceptance, validation, belonging. So when you struggle financially, it's not just embarrassment, it's social pain. Studies show that financial shame activates the same brain regions as physical pain. That's why debt can feel heavier than it looks. Point 8. The paradox of choice. Modern life gives us infinite financial options, but that freedom comes at a cost. Every swipe, every purchase, every investment opportunity forces your brain to decide. Too many choices lead to what psychologists call decision fatigue. You overthink, you doubt, you freeze. And ironically, even when you make the right financial choice, you feel less satisfied because your brain keeps wondering about the alternatives. Point 9. The future anxiety loop. Money keeps you trapped in the future. Will I have enough? What if I lose my job? What if the market crashes? That constant future focus triggers chronic anxiety. Your brain can't relax because it's trying to predict the unpredictable. But here's the truth. Money anxiety is not solved by having more money. It's solved by changing your relationship with uncertainty. Point 10. The enough problem. How much money is enough? Your brain doesn't know because enough is emotional, not numerical. Once your basic needs are met, happiness plateaus, but your brain keeps moving the finish line. That's the hedonic treadmill. You keep running, chasing, upgrading, but never arriving, because the goalpost of satisfaction always moves just out of reach. Point 11. The power of perception. Two people can have the same amount of money. One feels rich, the other feels broke. That's because financial stress is subjective. It's not about how much you have. It's about how you interpret what you have. A study from Princeton showed that perceived financial control reduces stress more than actual income. In other words, feeling empowered matters more than the numbers themselves. Point 12. The money identity loop. Money doesn't just buy things. It shapes who you think you are. You spend to reinforce identity. You save to protect it. And when you lose money, it can feel like losing a piece of yourself. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop tying your identity to your bank balance, you regain your freedom. Because money stops being your master and becomes your tool. Money isn't evil. It's energy, and energy amplifies emotion. If you're scared, it magnifies fear. If you're grounded, it magnifies possibility. The key isn't to stop caring about money. It's to understand your relationship with it. Because once you realize your brain was built to fear scarcity, you can start to rewire it for stability. And that's when money stops controlling your peace of mind and starts working for it. Money will always matter, but it doesn't have to own your mind. Learn the psychology and take back control.